Time now for the CXO panel discussion. Niranjan will be moderating this session. This panel will explore the high-level strategic decisions that CXOs are making to navigate the changing automotive landscape. It will address how companies are positioning themselves to capitalize on India's growth potential while staying competitive in the global market. Using the alphabetical order of the first names, let me now invite on stage our distinguished panel speakers, starting with Mr. R. Kirtivasan, COO and co-founder from Rapti. Mr. Kirtivasan brings a strong educational foundation to the team. He holds a bachelor's degree in production engineering from Madras Institute of Technology and has further honed his skills with a master's degree in quality from CEG. His passion for building things and his technical acumen laid the groundwork for his journey in the automotive and engineering fields. Now at Rapti, Mr. Kirtivasan plays a pivotal role in steering the company's technological vision and innovation. A warm welcome and so much for joining us. Now I would like to invite Mr. Sandeep Srivastava, Managing Director, Magna Mechatronics, Mirrors and Lightning India, and board member of Magna India. Mr. Srivastava is a seasoned automotive leader with over 30 years of experience driving P&L management, operational excellence, and greenfield projects. Mr. Srivastava has a proven track record of building strong customer relationship and leading high-performance global teams, evidenced by his success at Magna, where he oversees P&L for mechatronics, mirrors, and lighting, and serves as a board member for Magna Group India. He is recognized for transforming organizational culture, boosting employee engagement, and establishing Industry 4.0 system that increase productivity by 20%. A warm welcome and thank you so much, sir, for joining us. Our next panel speaker is Dr. Shankar Venugopal, Vice President, Mahindra & Mahindra. Dr. Shankar spearheads technology, innovation, and intellectual property for Mahindra's auto and farm sectors, while also serving as Dean of the Mahindra Technical Academy. Previously, he has led innovations at GE, Dow, Honeywell, and Cummins. With a PhD in material science from IISc and a management degree from IIM Bangalore, he is a prolific inventor holding 30 patents. His accolades include ISC's Best Thesis Award, GE's Edison Inventor Medal, and the World Intellectual Property Forum's Prolific Inventor Award. A very warm welcome, sir, and thank you so much. He's come all the way from Bangalore. So thank you, sir, for joining. Our next panel speaker is Mr. Senthil Ramakrishnan, Vice President, Powertrain Engineering, Renault-Nissan. Mr. Ramakrishnan, a dual postgraduate in engineering and management, has over 25 years of automotive industry experience. He has diverse expertise spanning research, product engineering, quality testing, and project management. Starting his career at top automotive tier 1 companies, he joined Renault-Nissan Tech in 2008. Currently, he leads the powertrain engineering function, overseeing hardware design, CAE, embedded software, calibration, customer performance, and testing for conventional and electrified powertrains. He also spearheads industry academia collaboration initiatives. A warm welcome, sir, and it's a pleasure having you today. Our next panel speaker is Mr. Vish Vishwanathan, President, Delphi TVS. Mr. Vishwanathan is a veterinarian leader with 2 decades of P&L leadership across diverse industries like automotive, petrochemicals, and infrastructure. His extensive background spans finance, operations, marketing, and HR, gained from the Fortune 500 MNCs and consulting as well. A customer-focused leader with a global mindset, he has a proven track record in new launches, turnaround, strategic growth, and M&A. His unique qualification in finance, engineering, marketing, IT, and law, coupled with his belief in human capital, underscores his dynamic leadership. A warm welcome and thank you so much for joining. Over to you, Niranjan.
Hello. Yes. So uh, let me immediately get into the discussion. We're going to talk about leading India's automotive transformation in a global market. Uh, am I audible to the people at the back? Yeah, okay. Thank you so much. So let me start with Vish sir first. Since he's been in the CEO's role for uh, quite a few decades actually, and he's been leading international organizations, not just in the automotive industry, but also in different industries like petrochemicals, construction, and so on. So this is more of a generic question. We are living in very difficult times. Uh, there are geographical issues happening, geopolitical issues happening, political issues happening. Everything is going haywire right now. In a scenario like this, how does an organization like yours prepare itself to not just face the current scenario, but also look forward?
Obviously it's not a very obviously it's not a very easy task, and it's something which we keep grappling on a daily basis. And do you focus on the short term? Do you focus on the long term? And also, how long do you look at? Right? There was times when 25 years back, people used to do 3-year plans. Then people went to 5-year plans, and people said 10-year plan. Some companies even went it with a 20-year plan. And now we say, if we can't even think of the next quarter, is it worth planning? There's a question always we pose ourselves internally. And the fact remains that you have to plan. The only thing that you can be sure of is your plans will go wrong. That's the only thing you can be sure of, but that shouldn't prevent you from planning, because by planning, you're at least in a far better situation to deal with things. So the way we do it is in two ways. One, we do multiple scenario planning. So we have 3, 4, 5 different scenarios and then see how to handle each of those one, both from an opportunity point of view as well as a risks point of view. Second thing which we do as part of this exercise is also continuously update those plans. Not just have the plan and leave it that way. So every 3 months or 6 months, we go back and see what's changed, what do we need to change. So it's a dynamic planning that you need to do. And the other thing we try to do as a company is, how do you become more agile? How do you promote corporate agility? And so that you have the flexibility to deal with varying situations.
Okay. Srivastavaji, I would like to come to you. And I would want you to kind of continue with what Vish sir has expressed. We are dealing with a lot of different markets in terms of geographies, in terms of the political scenarios out there. How easy or difficult is it as a leader for you to deal with such markets, particularly when you are looking at the exports angle?
Yes, so thank you, first of all, Ranjan, for inviting us. And I really appreciate, first of all, with the panel who are sitting with such a rich experience here. As Mr. Vish said, the main thing is there on the scenario planning. Scenario planning is very, very important. And updating them very frequently means not like wait for a quarter, even every month. Try to see what things are happening and how much we are involved in this whole process. As long as geopolitical issue is there, I personally say it exists from even in our Dwapar, Treta, Satyug every time. It is not geopolitical issue coming today. If you see earlier what Ravana was doing, he was trying to capture something, what Krishna did or what Mahabharata did. They wanted to have the same geopolitical issue, correct? And today we give this name as a geopolitical issue. So we have to live with this. Frankly, it is going to be. So when we are talking on the export, frankly, we have the experience almost for the last 10 years, 30% of our revenue we are exporting. And in export, main thing is there coming, planning is one part. But first of all, we really need to improve the culture of the organization. Because people mindset has to be changed. क्योंकि वो mind में चलता है approach doesn't work in export. So because till the time you will be taking some reactive measure, is 3 month stock in the sea, and whatever you may be planning to make some margin, that is gone. So that's the most important in this context.
I have a quick question for both of you. You mentioned about planning for multiple scenarios, while leadership, thought processes, and strategy play a big role in that. Do you also see the use of AI for kind of predicting future situations and then using it to provide or get some answers? Maybe Vish sir could start with that.
I think at some stage it will be there, but I can't say we are using it today.
Okay.
I'm still trying to understand how we can do that, and how long do you look at, right? If it's a question of one couple of years, yes, but then something very, very disruptive is so difficult. So I don't know how AI will be able to handle something like that, but I'm still trying to understand how far and how much we can deploy AI. We've used that in a limited way in terms of stuff like predictive maintenance, in terms of quality aspects, etc. But stuff like this, business planning, I'm still trying to understand that better.
Okay. What's your view on this?
So in the planning, as of now, yes, AI for us in Magna, we are not so prone to use these automotive tools. But to me, just it's matter of 3 to 5 years. Otherwise, it's going to be, because you need to have all these possible variability across the industry. And certainly it depicts. And just I give you one example. 5 years before, we used to say we are going to do X million, and we do X by 3 or X by 2. We say we are going to use this much capital, and we used to do 120% of the capital. So I was the person responsible there, and I used to get so much reaction globally. What the hell you do? How you plan? I tell you today, it is not AI tool involved, but today when we plan, like this year we are going to do 73 million here in our division, and I am going to do precisely 73.5 or 73.4. Now the question comes for last 3 years, it is happening like this. The question comes out, how you can plan so precise? That is the question coming now.
Okay.
So the question comes out, how much as a leader, CXO, along with your leadership team, you are really involving them in the planning stage. Because many times it is always top down. Top down never work. It has to be bottom up in the planning. It really gives you the immense result. What we are personally experiencing today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dr. Venugopal, I'd like to continue with you on this question. While I have another panel which speaks specifically about technology and digitalization, but I still want to ask you this question with regards to the use of AI and other advanced technologies from the operational point of view. But I would still want you to add to what these two gentlemen mentioned. My simple question, is it even advisable to use AI for taking leadership decisions?
Sure. We heard the experts talk about the need for planning multiple scenarios and be ready to respond to the scenarios as and when they happen. And that is easier done with the help of AI, because as individuals, based on our past experience, we tend to have certain biases. One bias could be what we call as a sunk cost bias. I have sunk my cost in something, so I tend to hold on to it for longer than I should really. That can happen even to the most intelligent person. Bias you have been living with for a long time, so you're not even aware of it. So those kind of scenarios where in spite of the expertise and intelligence that our leadership has, because of those biases, if they are going to make some wrong decisions, there in those scenarios, use of AI um, in a bias-free manner can actually help to look at possible scenarios and then prepare the organization for a variety of scenarios. That's one place definitely we can see value. But this should be done in a very inclusive, in a collaborative manner, involving as many experts within the organization and also outside the organization to validate what the AI throws out. So I think then it is safe for us to spend more time pursuing those scenarios. So it should be a mix of initial triggers coming from a AI-based analysis and further validation coming from people who really have deep domain knowledge in that space. Then I think it's a safe approach.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in terms of using technology to continuously improve the efficiencies at the operations side,
Yes.
some time back I had interviewed Bhuvan,
Yes. Sure.
and he mentioned something very interesting to me. He said that while most automotive companies, the OEMs, they want to be the number one OEMs, my vision is that Mahindra and Mahindra should actually become the number one tech company.
Sure. Sure.
And what would be your perspective on that? Because you belong to the same organization.
Absolutely. So Bhuvan's team primarily looks at a lot of AI and analytics across the organization. And I sit at the Mahindra Research Valley, which is the PD organization primarily. So there where we see a lot of value, I'll give you a couple of use cases. When we build EVs from scratch, the born electric vehicles, we have a lot of design freedom to really challenge a lot of the assumptions and build from scratch EV which is totally optimized for performance. When we do that, there are always multiple things that we need to optimize in parallel. For example, I want to get the maximum range, so I tend to keep the weight low. When I keep the weight low, I also need to look at safety, crash, overall noise, vibration, harshness, so many other parameters. So if I do it in the traditional way, I have to run hundreds of experiments, multiple iterations to get to the sweet spot. But with AI's help, we are able to shrink from 100 to couple of 10 to 20 experiments within which we can get the same sweet spot and then proceed further from there onwards. And you would have realized that the time for new product development has been shrinking continuously, and the 2 new EVs were done in less than 2 years' time. So when you are going to do that, this is the only way for us to use AI wherever possible for this kind of multiple parallel optimization. Otherwise, the traditional way will take too long a time, actually. So that's where I see a lot of value in terms of accelerating the new product development.
Okay. Senthil, I'd like to come to you. Renault Nissan is known for partnerships and collaborations. So how do you see the role of partnerships and collaborations, particularly given this scenario today?
I think the partnership is the way to go. As you rightly said, that's why the Renault Group as a global entity relies on multiple partnerships. We don't hesitate to join hands with the tech leaders in their own domain. Though we are a 125 years old company globally, worked on every technology in the automotive, but we don't reach the state of complacency that we know everything. No, because the technology is evolving at a very greater pace. So we take advantage of the complete ecosystem available to us and then select the partners, and then partnership brings a lot of technological advancements, value additions, be it our partnership with Workar or Cattle for batteries and so on and so forth. Now eagerly even we are looking at India in the past. From India we have been focusing on procuring and exporting parts. But now we are eagerly looking at the partnership based on our top management directions. Partnership on the technology front. So that's the way forward, and this is more and more going to be, the cars are going to be, the OEMs are going to be the large scale integrators or assemblers. The technology will come from different partners. And the partnership not only starts and ends with industry, let's say the automotive industry in our case, but also the other side of the partnership, like partnership with academia, partnership with digital learning platforms. So these also helps us to prosper at a faster pace. And as Sir mentioned, so now the development period is more and more shrinking. In the past, even in Renault, we are taking the new development was taking 4 years, then it was shrunk to 3 years. Now we are lesser than 2 years, global lineups. So that's the way, thanks to the partnership, that was one of the main levers that enabled us to reach this state.
Okay. Since you mentioned academia also, and that is one of the initiatives that you had at Renault, you also had the industry academia initiative. What are some of the relevant things that you want to happen on that front?
I would say it's a kind of social responsibility to give it back. So that's how we started. It is one as even long years we have been having partnership in terms of hiring and skilling up and so on. We also felt how can we give it back either to prepare the future industry-ready engineers, in our case, engineers and technologists. And with one of our partners, by the way, the SRM is also one of our partners. And with another partner, even we have designed a custom-made course curriculum for a post-graduation program with VIT. And we continue to do that. The intention is how do we enrich our academia system in the country, taking advantage of its own strengths. The core strength of our Indian academia system is all the theoretical and the research capabilities. Application engineering comes from the industry. If we can combine the two, so there is nothing like that. This is exactly what we are trying to do to define the curriculum and then prepare future-ready engineers. So that I can quote one example. 3-4 years back when we hire the fresh engineers, usually it takes 3 months to 6 months, they start deliver. Even though they come out of reputed institutions, we have to give them the application engineering knowledge. But now with all these boot camps and then customized curriculum, in 1 month they are ready to deliver in their own task. That's the advantage of it.
Wonderful. Kirti, I'd like to come to you. You represent the EV industry.
Yeah.
And you also focus a lot on sustainability. One of the visions for your organization is to make Indian-made vehicles not only good quality, cost-effective, but at the same time sustainable. So how do you see the role of sustainability in achieving operational excellence?
So hello everyone, and Kirti here. And just a caution, with respect to this panel, I am the youngest and my experience is very confined to my product development side and most of technical side. So my ideas and vision is going to be very limited. So on the sustainable operational excellence side, so as a very young team, so just to give an idea of Rapti, the average age of the company is almost 23 to 24. And if I go and set up some process, then it is going to be a total chaos. So we kind of created a culture where the entire organization focuses on, the organization is very agile, but too much agile, so most of them, we end up a lot of chaos also. So we kind of created a mindset around the office. So we started implementing very simple lean principles and very simple quality principles. So the entire organization is in a learning curve. For example, with respect to a product quality, it is not just about measuring components and rejecting it. So if we need a good quality product, it has to start from design phase. So the moment a simple line is drawn on CAD, quality has to start there. So the entire supply or the entire system of the product development needs to understand this is going to be a more reliable product or it has to be a more reliable component. So that is how we started transforming the entire culture around the office, and we have to learn a lot. We don't have any particular legacy of building something great, and we generally take the support of the ecosystem around us. So the ecosystem here is amazing. We not just go out for manufacturing all the components. We inform that we are very young. This is the first component we are going to do. It is more of a learning rather than developing components. So we have literally used the entire ecosystem to learn and improve the complete product development today. So today, the motorcycle which we have, is more, I mean, it is not just built by a team which is sitting in Chennai, but it is built by the entire ecosystem here.
So I'm going to open this discussion for the audience also now, and I'd like to understand if people from the audience have any questions or observation with regards to the discussion so far. Yes, please identify yourself and be as crisp as possible.
Hi, good morning all. My name is Arun. I am representing Chalcom. Wonderful, insights. I think the latest thing what we can always hear, or what we're hearing now, is actually all about, the rare earth issues, and then, the lines being stopped. And probably this, I mean, the line stopped now. Probably this happened somewhere earlier, as early as actually April, and then we touched base on the planning part of it and all. But I think, as we move forward, there are so many uncertainties that is actually popping up. So it's a very large question. I mean, you guys may not have the exact answer to it, but are we really prepared well for such situation, or how come actually that things are actually happening? Because I'm from electronics background, I understand that semiconductor is being localized in India, but it is not exactly the real true semiconductor, what we all want. I mean, what all the industry want that's being done. But it's actually the first step. I mean, step number 1. And I'm sure that actually pretty soon it is going to be taking over to that, step 5 where it completes. But how do you think this is happening on the automotive side? I'm very much interested in electric vehicle, because we are also getting into electric vehicle parts. Yeah.
You can also share your point.
Yeah. I'll start and then others will add to this. My experience trying to do this over the last 6-7 years is to primarily focus on some of the critical materials. One is for the batteries, starting with the lithium, cobalt kind of critical materials that goes into the electrode of the batteries. Then of course the rare earths, which goes into the magnet for the motors, and then the semiconductor materials, especially with EVs. We look at wide bandgap semiconductors like silicon carbide and gallium nitride, not just the traditional silicon-based semiconductor devices. So when we look at least these 3 important materials, there are ways in which one can predict what can happen. And among the things that we tried, the most promising one is an approach called system dynamics modeling, where you can model, suppose we talk about, say, 30% of the vehicles on road will be EVs by 2030. If you take that number, it's easy to back calculate to see how much of lithium and how much of cobalt, how much of rare earths, everything can be very precisely estimated. And then we try to see if there is a 1% increase in the price of lithium or cobalt, what happens, how does it affect this entire system? And this also includes some regulatory things, subsidies, government policies, so many things can be factored into this model. So it comes back to what we said in the previous round, looking at multiple scenarios and then being ready to, we don't know which one of this will happen, but at least we would have thought about if scenario A happens, this is what we should do. If scenario B happens, this is what we should do. But once the initial model is done, then it's easy. There are powerful software to actually continuously run this and track it, compare it with what is really happening and fine-tune the model. All those things are possible. Actually, maybe during the break after this, I can tell you more about how this really works, but I found that quite a promising way to handle this complexity. Sure, I will.
Great insights, sir. Thanks a lot. Would love to talk to you.
Dr. Shankar has covered on the approach point of view. Maybe I will add it on the technology side. See, the interdependency is always going to remain between the countries, because one is, okay, we can make in India, but if every country thinks we will make and consume in one country, then we lose the export opportunity between the countries. So interdependence will continue to be there, but how do we minimize? How do we collaborate? This is on the approach side, Dr. Shankar was also explaining. On the technology side, as you touched upon rare earth and the batteries, rare earth, the way forward could be reducing the dependency on the rare earth and going for other motor technologies, or completely going for motor technologies like EESM, electronically excited, which doesn't have a magnet. But then again, we will have a dependencies in the copper. right? The interdependency is going to be the game. But idea is how do we minimize, how do we use the technological advantage so that our end customers are not impacted either in terms of availability or in terms of affordability.
Thank you, sir. Actually,
Thank you.
very
Yes.
insightful.
Hi, good morning. This is Vinod from Bosch. Two questions out of curiosity. How long will it take for the EV to replace the oil? That's one. The second one is, we heard about Xiaomi trying to completely eradicate the Tesla in the US. So is that a threat for us from the Chinese auto manufacturers in India? Two questions. Thank
Would
you.
like to take that?
On a personal note, still I'm a diesel fan. Moving from diesel to gasoline itself as a consumer for a big trouble for me, though the gasoline technology is much more advanced than the last decade with GDIs and so on. To answer you, I think today, as you may know, that today we are at 2.5% on EV and another 2.5% on HEV in passenger car. And from 5% to completely replace internal combustion engine, I think many of us will be retired.
Okay. Vish sir, you want to answer the second part of his question? Can you please repeat your second question?
I was just asking the threat of the Chinese auto manufacturers for the Indian auto companies. The latest news is that Xiaomi has kind of pushed out Tesla in the US market itself. So is there some threats like that for us in the Indian market?
Personally, I'm a great believer in the capability of Indian companies, in the capability of Indian people. So while we may start with some initial disadvantages, I think we can rise to the occasion. And I believe Indian OEMs will, and Indian component players will give a good fight to the Chinese in the home market. A lot of industries or a lot of industry players talked about the threat when many companies started setting up shop here, when MNCs were there, were allowed to come in, back in the 90s. And yes, there was some initial disruptions, but we've seen how many companies in India have really risen to the occasion and done well.
Sure. I just want to add one quick point here. So since you said Bosch, I'm sure you would have had enough driving experience in Bangalore. So if you are in an EV and if you are stuck in traffic in Bangalore, you're still stuck. So EV by itself can do only so much. But in the EV, when you're going to bring in connected features and semi-autonomous driving features, all those things, that's what is going to make this EV even more attractive to the user, especially Monday to Friday when you're driving through dense traffic. With this perspective in mind, when you look at the first transition, the IC to EV, many experts thought it will take 5 to 10 years, but it hardly took 2 years. But that was still a hardware to hardware, a mechanical hardware to electrical and electronic hardware. Now looking back, it is a relatively easy transition. But if you look at what's going to happen next, everybody is realizing the potential of the software-defined vehicles, the SDVs. There the transition is from hardware to software. That is a much bigger, much more complex transition. And as a country, if there is one space that we are really, really good at globally, that is software. So the transition from hardware to software is in a sense to our advantage. So that's where I see tremendous potential for India as a country to really become a global leader when it comes to vehicles that bring the best of hardware and software together to deliver the performance. That's a unique once-in-a-life opportunity for all of us out here. Sure.
One last.
Sure.
Well said. I'm from the auto industry, so I'm build AI for mobility as well as SDV for cars. I have my own India's indigenous car developed. I only have one question. Well said. Hardware is not a much difficult change.
Please identify the name of your organization.
Ajesh from Ozone Motors
Yes.
and Fovia Tech. I have one question is, how much of AI and SDV is important? Because we always had this problem in India is we always over-engineer before getting the product out. We have done it in the engineering side. As Venu mentioned, there is a good opportunity right now for India to capture. But I see that when I'm also in the same space, but in the last 2 years, I see that too much of emphasis is given on SDV, too much of emphasis is given on AI, and people are making much more non-sustainable AI and SDV instead of making the most efficient and cost-effective one. So how much of transition is needed in the fast run and in the long run?
So end of the day, AI or SDVs are from the solution side, but we need to be solving the right problems using this in order to really deliver customer value. The customer is very smart these days. They just don't go for the technologies. They say, what value is this creating for me? It should translate to a TCO, some tangible thing that they really see value in. So sitting as an Indian company sitting here, we are much closer to the customers. So we have better chances than anybody else to get the pulse of the customer. What are those rational and emotional needs that they may have out there, so that we use AI and software features to solve those problems where the customer sees value. I think that importance of that is becoming even more important in this new space than what it was before. So that's something we cannot afford to lose focus on. That only will make the difference.
On that part, but on the manufacturing side of the same vehicles, I see this transition being very slow, right? Because if I go to China, I go others, there's an entire dark factory coming up. You don't need anything. You pretty much, it's a simple supply chain system. You put it over there and the line finishes and the vehicle is out. I'm seeing that the emphasis on that is very less on the management rather than only on the customer focus side. Is there manufacturing going to be going towards SDV, more of using sensors, technology, AI in the manufacturing?
Yes. Mr. You want to take that?
I think that's already happening. I think there's a lot of that usage happening on the shop floor. And in our company, we are also in the early stages of implementing it, but we see a lot of opportunities to do it on the shop floor.
Okay. See, I was just want to add a few things. All these three questions. I was 2 weeks in China, just came last week. And frankly, I tell you, it is nothing to defend or say to anybody, but all those Chinese vehicles, if you put it here in India, at $20,000 to $30,000, 24 lakhs, say 35, 30 lakhs, none of our so-called our OEM vehicles here will sell. So we see the perceived value, not on the cost, the finish, the touch, the interior, the exterior, everything. And I listen this to various OEM conferences. So it is up to us as a tier 1, tier 2 suppliers as well as OEM, how we are transforming ourselves. Modi government or XYZ government cannot sustain or hold these things for long term. It's a matter of few years because you are a global economy. We cannot say, hey, I will not allow China, I will not allow you, I will not allow XYZ. They are going to come. And it is a big, big challenge, big thing for all of us. We should not get driven with the software, this and that. End of the day, I always say the customer has to see perceived value. If I'm getting in 30 lakhs, 25 lakhs, that level of vehicle, certainly I will prefer. I will forget that point of time, oh, it is my enemy country, this country, that country. Correct? So that's the most important thing today.
We have seen that happening in smartphones.
Yeah, it's happening in smart.
Why can't it happen in vehicles?
Yeah, it happens only for 1 month, few weeks. People will say, hey, I will not buy this product. And after that, everybody go for their value, correct? On the rare earth material thing, I tell you one example. It is just every OEM started getting the letter to us. I'm a tier 1, so I supply to part OEMs. And I used to ask our purchasing head, hey, fill this form, it has to go to the things. But I say before sending, at least let me review, because what risk we are giving. But everywhere our guys will say, we are not affected, we are not affected. So I was really saying, are you really intelligently researching this? So because whole industry is affected, but we say, no, we are not affected. Then they say, yeah, we are not affected. Then I went to global guys, I asked product manager, what happened? Why we are not affected with rare earth? We are not giving any trigger to the OEMs. They said in 2014-15, we did a drive. Is any of our product is having such of this material, which may stop OEM at one point of time. It is 10 years back, not now. And there they found that, oh, this rare earth 4 materials are going to create a problem on this magnet and other things. And then the whole technology shift happened. So whatever we supply to the OEM today, they are fully protected. So the question comes out that how risk assessment team is strong in your organization, who is really evaluating, really checking where these things will happen, correct? And we are taking proactive action. Even OEM may not be aware even. We will communicate them, oh, this is, we are changing, we are doing for improvement to avoid some risk in the whole product. So every time we blame our customers, but fact is that we have to rethink, rebuild what we have to do. That's just wanted to share one example because rare earth is, everywhere is a discussion topic today, across the industry today, right?
Thank you. Kirti, I wanted your viewpoint also on this question about Chinese EV companies, because you are a pure EV player. So how do you look at it?
So my perspective will be the requirement and the market is very different with respect to China and India. For example, with respect to a two-wheeler in China, especially in EV two-wheelers, it is more of a low distance, low commuter kind of a market in China. But whereas it is a two-wheeler in Indian market is like the second most valuable asset in a family. So we expect a motorcycle, we expect an automobile or a motorcycle to last at least for 8 or 9 years with the family. So the way the automobiles are built here is very different from the way automobiles are built in other markets. So that's why we are kind of number one in two-wheeler segment globally. So we have that values on our products where we are also shining in many areas, and that is kind of a diversion or a pressure where we need to take some valuable points, but let's not affect our own flow and our own roadmap towards our own products.
Okay, thank you, that makes sense. Now I'd like to come to another very critical subject, which is sustainability. And I'd like to have Mr. Srivastava as well as Vish sir's point of view on that. How do you think sustainability is getting embellished in strategic decision maker? Today, sustainability is not just an option, it is a matter of compliance. And how do you see it impacting overall businesses? Maybe Mr. Srivastava, you can start.
So on sustainability part, I say, as long as see the sustainability as any commercial benefit is no go. Because today, if I see my plant is around 70% are renewable energy. Balance 30 also we are trying to overcome, but nothing to criticize any government. But if you see our government policy in Tamil Nadu, it doesn't allow me to use even 100% renewable. Because from this time to this time, you are forced to use EB power only. So what government is saying, okay, next 30 year, 40, by 2070, we want to be carbon neutral. But so currently what my point is there in our product scenarios and costings, we are always taking all these initiatives in our product proposal itself. So it is not something like, okay, it is choice today. Because the company like us, we are exporting a lot. We will not be even given the chance to quote if my renewable energy portion is not there in my organization. So, and second thing, as a person, I believe what I am giving to the society, I'm taking so much from everywhere. What I do for the CSR, that's one. What I am contributing as a Generation Z, at least something I should do not to pollute something, correct? As a personal front, if we want to really buy a vehicle, at least let's buy EV. There are challenges, no problem. But at least I'm not polluting, maybe few ppm I'm adding, but I'm not adding there, correct? So sustainability is the reality. As quickly whole industry understand, it's good. Otherwise, many of the supplier who was really exporting, they will be left alone. And in Magna side, 350 plus plants. And Magna always say, what is your score, sustainability? And if you are really not in scope 1, scope 2, where are you reaching? You will be left alone, no problem. So it's up to division, how strongly you are really working to at least qualify scope 1, then we reach to some portion of scope 2. It is really very challenging.
Right.
Yeah, thank you.
Wish, sir, your perspective?
See, it goes back to the values of a company as well. Profit obviously is required as an objective, but then that's not the only objective of a company. And when you look at your stakeholders, so it's not just shareholders as a stakeholder, but customers, suppliers, employees, and the community at large is an important stakeholder. And you need to balance stakeholder interests as a company for the company's own long-term survival. And the other thing is today, there's a lot more value attached to sustainability, which means an employee feels good about joining a company which has focus on sustainability. Shareholders value a company which focuses on sustainability from a longer term point of view. And so companies have started bringing out this sustainability reports, annual sustainability reports. Some companies are required to bring out, but a lot of other companies who are not required to bring it out are also doing that because they see value in doing that. And a company is respected far more for doing that. And you have a lot of customers today, as Srivastava was saying, also insisting that you have to satisfy ESG criteria. And therefore, you also have to go through that process as well. So it's no longer a choice.
Absolutely. Yeah, please.
So it's, as Sir was mentioning, even the younger generation as a consumers and employees, I see that, at least in my team, I see that there is an inclination towards when we are making something sustainable towards green energy, they really appreciate it. When inside our tech center, when we moved away from a very small initiative, when we moved away from plastic water bottles to refillable water bottles, we thought it just, okay, it's one baby step on top of whatever we are trying to do in product. But when I had an offline exchange with my team, all of them were very much impressed with that initiative. We felt at management it's a small initiative, but it impressed the younger generation of employees. They really liked it. So that's the signal for us. So those employees are also our consumers.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So I'll just touch upon two things. That's what made it easy for us to realize sustainability in the business context. Sustainability, frugality has always been strong elements in our culture. So just like frugal engineering, sustainable engineering also will sooner or later will be there in place. But two things that are enabling in a big way is a lot of good research has brought focus on design for sustainability, where right from the conceptual stage we are able to factor in the second life, third life of the components that goes in and how we can bring back and build a circular economy around these products that we bring out. Second is the technology enablement. So Europe has this battery passport, and in India we call this battery Aadhaar. So just by scanning that, you will know everything about the battery, where each and every element has come from, how long it has been there, the health, and then its potential for going into a new battery. Everything can be done at just one scan. So technology tells you precisely which mine, how it was processed, everything. That makes it easier because we don't have excuse. Now technology can tell you precisely everything you need to know. So that is making it even more easier to practice sustainability and keeping it still attractive from a business perspective.
If I can just add something in lighter vein.
Yeah, sure.
Just to lighten up things. I recall an incident, a conversation back in the 90s when this concept of CFC-free was introduced, CFC-free air conditioners, CFC-free refrigerators. So I remember one of the Godrej sales managers telling us that when they introduced CFC-free refrigerators, one of the ladies was attracted when she heard this CFC-free. So she bought the refrigerator and asked, where is the CFC? So we've come a long way from that to public understanding of sustainability.
Absolutely. Even I'd like to add something. Automotive industry is probably one of the most blamed when it comes to polluting the environment, right? And that is not really the case. That is not really the case. And it is probably one of the most responsible industries, and I have been working with this industry for close to 20 years and have seen it firsthand. So I'd like to narrate a quick personal incident here. Uh, my daughter was telling me, if I burst crackers and fireworks during Diwali, I'm told that it is causing pollution. But Russia and Ukraine have been bursting fireworks and crackers for last 3 years. Nobody is blaming them. Right? Yeah. By the way, she doesn't burst crackers, but she just thought that she could ask that question. So, while we still have about 9 minutes left, there's one more very important aspect that we need to discuss, and maybe Dr. Venugopal, you can start with that. We need to talk about skill development, because since the industry is growing, evolving, what is the role of skill development? Are we sufficiently upgrading and reskilling ourselves?
Okay. At least Mahindra has a dedicated organization called the Mahindra Technical Academy to take care of this at all levels. Right from a fresher to a chief engineer, we have programs to help them continuously upskill themselves. And also all these people are in a technical career path or a tech ladder, so that they get their career trajectories, growth, everything is dependent on how actively they are learning and applying what they have learned. The real challenge is now, in the past we used to hire a lot of mechanical engineers and good number of automotive engineers also. But today what we need is a mobility engineer who has to be a mechanical engineer, an electrical and electronics engineer with the knowledge of basic programming and product design. So no college, no institute anywhere in the world, not just in India, anywhere in the world can train a student in all these areas in those 4 years that they spend with the organization, or even if they are doing a master's extra 2 years. So now a lot of the learning has to happen outside the classroom also for a person to be industry ready. So maybe the classroom learning can be 1/4 of what the industry expects. The second 1/4 could come from the industry exposure that they get through their summer internships and stuff like that. The third 1/4 could be in terms of all the hackathons and all the competitions where they participate, work with students from other departments and then learn from each other and build something in a very short time. And the last 1/4 can happen by having mentors from the industry who can advise you at every stage based on their own experience and journey. So it's very important for students and faculties to recognize this and bring these other 3 components beyond classroom so that the students become industry ready, because that's what the new mobility industry really needs. Sure, I think that's it.
Senthil, you want to add to that?
I think the word mobility in the education, I really like it. So this is what we did it with between Renaissance Tech and VIT. We made a curriculum for a post-graduation program called MTech Smart Mobility. But as Sir said, the 2 years post-graduation program, can it teach everything? No. As we all know, the learning is a lifelong process. So that is why even we have our own internal academia program. We call it REKNOW, R-E-K-N-O-W, REKNOW University. And top it up with external partnership and collaboration. REKNOW University, R-E-K-N-O-W. It's a global institution, of course, also in India, exclusively for us, Renault employees. And on top of that, so as many of us know, the triple E concept 70-20-10, the education is only 10%. The remaining 70 and 20% has to come from exposure and experience. That's where all these mentorships, hackathons, etc. will do a major role.
Kirti, you are equally passionate about skill development as a subject. How are you as an automotive professional adding value to this?
So our general office scenario is, if you just visit us, there will be mechanical engineers selecting capacitors and resistors for most of the electronic components. So the entire culture, the tech is new, there is no legacy data, but it is out of pure passion these guys tend to learn. We only created a space where there is complete freedom for everyone to jump into anything they are passionate about and develop that particular area. And we almost 20% of the office is filled with interns. We do a lot of internship programs, and interns don't come, they learn, they will come, step in, they will improve a particular spot. They will take a particular project, they will improve it, and they will step out. And this is also a very good place for us to actually recognize the next set of talent who wants to step in. So they will be really interested, passionate about whatever they are doing, and it is more of a passion-oriented learning in office. So the core guys from production or my friends, they started doing electronics to extent where they recommend the next set of chip suggestions and other resistors to the vendors. So that is how the entire company is driven. And being very locked with a particular area or a very specific space is not going to work today. So people have to explore a lot of areas. But I ideally feel whatever area it is, if a person has a good amount of love or passion towards building in that particular area, I think they can just step in and start developing a skill on that particular area, and that will kind of solve all the problems.
So you are actually preparing these mobility engineers, as Dr. Shankar Venugopal mentioned. Yes, Mr. Srivastava.
See, on the skill, my head HR, Mr. Shiva also here, he heads HR and IT. Every time my debate comes to with him, what we are doing for our...
He heads HR and IT.
Yes, very unique.
Very interesting
thing,
combination.
because everywhere you will see finance hold that IT. I don't know how much knowledge they have. But at least HR guys, day-to-day interact with everybody. He understands the pain of the employee. So he has to solve through IT to ultimately those issues if something can be done quickly. So what I used to say, I believe only one thing. If you don't measure anything, you don't control. So simple things comes out on the skill or employee engagement. How we measure? Employee engagement, if you talk, we think we give a full air-conditioned office, full tea, coffee, good food, and laptop, all those things, and my employee is engaged. Actually, it is not. So because there is no mechanism how you measure the employee engagement. If you don't measure, you don't take any corrective action. So on the skill, on the instrument, we take so much action. When this calibration is due, when this preventive has to be due, all the software there. And the same thing, but now, as of now, it is not exactly on online, but we are working out. It's very soon, in next 3 months, it is going to be. Every employee calibration will be displaying when this person need further training. Not only the direct labor or indirect labor, mainly on the staff as well. And so-called leaders, chief managers, HODs, they really need to be trained a lot. Okay. So when it comes to you, oh, this training is due for this employee, he is not did any training in whole year, it is like a triggering. We really want to invest money, and it going to help us. So first of all, the data is important. And when you automate by AI tools, you really know what I have to do and when I have to do. And then you plan very well. Next 3 years, what training I can plan, how much money I have to protect in the system, and that is going to pay back to you.
Wonderful. Okay. Now, I have a question for the audience. And if you give me the correct answer, you will get a prize for that. So if you know the answer, there are actually 2 questions. So if you know the answers, raise your hand. Okay, but don't give out your answer. Very simple questions from what we heard from the panelists here. 2 very trivia type questions here. Dr. Shankar Venugopal mentioned about an academy which the Mahindra Group runs for skill development, and Senthil Ramakrishnan ji also mentioned about a university which Renault runs. You have to give the names. Okay, the lady here, give us.
I'm Surya Ji from Whirlpool Corporation.
Oh, wonderful.
The first question, Sir Venugopal sir said about Mahindra Tech Academy, where the employees are upskilled. It is particularly for skill development program for each and every employees in Mahindra. And Mahindra Tech Academy. Yes, so. And the second question is, sorry sir, can you repeat?
What is the name of the university which Renault runs?
It's Renault.
How do you spell it?
Yeah, REKNOW.
Correct, correct.
Yes, it's a 2-year program
And
where he said like, it is a smart mobility program.
you got the prize, Surya. Wonderful. Let's have a round of applause for her. And what I liked about this is that she's from Whirlpool. She is not from the automotive background here. Thank you for joining us,
Thank you,
Surya.
thank you so
And
much.
good to see that you're finding value in this.
Yes,
Thank
thank you
you.
so much. I can
So-
correlate many of the
I'm sure.
generic approaches I can take from all the leaderships here. So I can just finding ways where I can incorporate in my core. Thank you so much.
That's the
It was
idea.
very valuable. I'm just.
Thank you, thank you. The credit, please.
And someone was doubting, do we have a threat from China? No, we have engineers and people like this, so we will beat them.
Absolutely. Let's have a round of applause for this. And we have had a great panel discussion. If you observed, we had a good mix of panelists here. We had 2 tier 1 players, we had 2 OEMs, and we also had a EV player here. So please give a big round of applause to all our panelists. It was a privilege and pleasure talking to you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, dear panelists, and for the wonderful moderation, Niranjan. And moving on, I would request all the speakers to stay back. May I invite Mr. V. Karthik Narayan of Atlas Copco, along with Mr. Sameer Joshi from Atlas Copco, and Dr. Shripad Raj of Senquare to join us on the stage and felicitate our esteemed panel speakers. Please come on to the dais. Be careful now. Firstly, felicitating Mr. R. Kirtivasan from RAPTI. A big round of applause, audience. Next on, Mr. Sandeep Srivastava from Magna Mechatronics. Mr. Sameer Joshi will be felicitating. Dr. Shankar Venugopal from Mahindra and Mahindra. Dr. Shripad Raja from Senquare will be felicitating. Mr. Senthil Ramakrishnan from Renault Nissan. Mr. Karthik Narayan will be felicitating from Atlas Copco. Last but not the least, Mr. Vish Vishwanathan from Delphi TVS. Mr. Sameer Joshi will be felicitating. Can we have a quick group photo along with the mementos? Thank you all.